Hi, and welcome everybody to a quick video. Well, the video might be a little bit long, but a video that I am shooting quickly on my lunch break at work on this day before the last day of 2015. I was watching some of my older videos while I was listening to them, and I realized it's been a while since I did a proper gameplay video, not counting some Fallout 4 streams I was doing. And I thought I would do a little video talking about this game that I've been playing off and on with my husband, Kaiser, for a couple months now. It's called Ark Survival Evolved, and it's pretty popular, but if you haven't heard of it, it's sort of a Minecraft-inspired, almost Pokemon-ish. It's basically you gather resources. You know, that's a pretty standard survival kind of thing. But the thing that's really unique about Ark is that rather than zombies or, you know, crazy Russian spies or whatever trying to kill you, it's actually set in a world full of prehistoric dinosaurs and mammals and stuff, and it's really fun, and I wanted to kind of show you parts I like about it and some of the stuff that I hope will be patched out in future updates. It is an alpha. It was officially released according to the Wikipedia page for it June 2nd, 2015, and the full release is expected June 2016, and the developer lists a couple of different people. But anyway, they update it pretty much every day, and sometimes the updates are just like bug fixes. A lot of times they actually are introducing like whole new creatures and stuff like that. They also have a lot of themed things, like this is obviously the winter themed one. They had a Turkey Day themed one. They had a Halloween one. I think that's actually where I started playing, was during the Halloween update. And the update usually means there's like a couple special creatures, bosses, items, stuff like that. And so that's cool, but there's also just in general they're constantly updating the game. Anyway, so the first thing I want to mention is you have a couple of different options for when you play. The, I guess, official way of playing is if you join the PvE servers or the PvP servers or whatever. These are all the official servers that are run by servers that, sorry about my bird, that are run by the developers themselves, and they're continually running. And one of the things that's unique about Ark is that your character still exists in the world. In fact, your character and the dinosaurs you've tamed and everything like that still exist in the world if you play on one of these servers, even when you're AFK. And basically your body just is laying in an unconscious lump. And you can still be affected by monsters can walk by and kill you and stuff like that. But the benefit is that you can play with a lot of other people a lot more easily. And the big thing about Ark is tribes. If you play on PvP servers, you can actually, you know, you go to war with each other. Actually, you can do that on PvE as well. It's kind of complicated, and they keep changing it. If you're curious, just look up Bird. Hey, shut up. He's quiet all day. Anyway, if you're curious about that, you can look it up. But basically, it's kind of World of Warcraft-ish, I want to say, in PvP versus PvE and stuff like that. I, however, prefer to play. I host a server and my husband joins me. You can actually play single player too, but I like doing the host or whatever. You know, our computers are right next to each other, so we don't really need a microphone. No, Bird, you are ruining my video. Come on, cat. It probably doesn't help that the cat is like sitting right next to the cage. Anyway. So one of the things that's nice about hosting your own server is, well, first of all, you don't have to worry about your character dying when you're not playing, because, you know, unless you're hosting, then the game isn't running. You can also mess with these settings, and the only two that I really recommend that I like messing, well, three I should say. One, this is a little bit confusing, but the daytime speed and nighttime speed, it's not a percentage, it's literally speed. So this means that daytime goes at 50% speed, and this means that nighttime goes at 2% speed, or 200%, there we go, speed. I like that because the nighttime is very, very dark, and in a lot of games, I don't really enjoy being stuck in the dark all the time. But if you want the more authentic experience, you can just leave it at 1 and 1. And then the other thing is the harvest amount and the harvest health. This is, when you gather resources in this, it's kind of like the newest 7 Days to Die update, except that it, as far as I know, has always been this way in Ark, where the longer you hit something, the more resources you get from it, rather than, you know, one lump payload at the end. And I just feel that if you up harvest health, which means that like a tree or whatever takes 3 times as many hits to knock down, but you also lift the harvest amount, then it's just a little more realistic reflection. But yeah, I like doing that. The one thing you do have to be careful about when you host is tether distance. I have mine maxed out at 3, which I want to say is like 300 feet about in the game. So you can't be on like opposite sides of the map, and the map is huge, by the way. But you know, it kind of forces you to be together a little bit. But I mean, this game is all about working together anyway, so I don't really understand why you wouldn't want to. But yeah, so you can go ahead and host your game. You can make multiple characters. I'm just gonna go ahead and load the world that I've been playing with my husband. I don't think his character might be in there. I'm not actually sure how that works. Usually I boot this up the same time as he's booting his. And I hope this is all recording. We got a new computer on Black Friday, and it has Windows 10 on it, and I'm kind of using just the base material, the base software that came with the computer to record, and for apps, which I downloaded. I have a copy of it, and I downloaded it again, and I got a warning as soon as I started recording. It was like, it's known to crash this game, so fingers crossed. And oh my gosh, when I started playing this on my older computer, and I was lucky to get like 5 frames a second. It was so hard to play. I still enjoyed it, but it was so hard to play. And now with this computer, it'll probably be a little bit slowed down because I'm recording. But it's just so much nicer being able to actually have a smooth frame rate, simply because you actually kind of need it. Okay, so we're a little bit... Whoa, my character's floating weirdly. What is going on? Alright, so it's still loading a little bit. All the textures are still coming in. So basically this is where we left off when we were last playing, last night actually. And right here is one of my one of my things I'll get to in a little bit about one of my grievances, which is that while you can build platforms and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to get them to snap. Shut up, cat. Seriously, animals. I'm getting lag. Basically, I was building this ramp so that we didn't have to go around all the time, and it was like, you need support structure, but there wasn't really an easy way to snap it, so this was the best I could figure out. But it works, whatever. It's basically just saving myself a little bit of room. And as you can tell, here are my tamed dinos. And currently, I have no idea how many dinos are in dinos and prehistoric mammals and whatnot are in the game. I want to say 40 or 50, but it could be more than that. And our characters are pretty low level right now. We're actually only level 21, and I think he's level 20. And the thing about this game is that one of the reasons you have to work together is that the way you unlock different things you can make, you don't automatically have the recipe. You have to, quote-unquote, learn it. And so you use up these points, the EP points or whatever, and I have a couple left over because there's nothing that I really want right now. But yeah, you have to really think about it, and you also won't know what you can do until you get to that level, unless you cheat and look it up. And so when I was playing with my husband, the last time we played together when he was hosting, before I got my new computer, I focused on gear and he focused on furniture. And that ended up being a dumb idea because his play style is all about just going out and gathering resources and killing things. I'm the one that likes to build, build farms and stuff like that. So this time around, I got the basics just so I wasn't constantly pestering him to make me that stuff. But I'm focusing on the building blocks, and then he can do, the armor and stuff like that. And resources are an interesting thing in this. They're pretty well balanced, I would say. One of the things that really depends, we found this little hamlet and we made it our home because it has this cool little pond and everything like that. But anyway, but it's very cold right here because we are way up in the north. And when you play, you can pick, there's 9 different zones, or 9 different spawn points you can pick, and they're split up into the 4 cardinal directions. This is, I think, north 3 is where we started. And by the way, to run, there's that little peg, and you have to enable being able to see yourself in map mode to be able to see this, so you can't do this on the world map. I don't know why they made that decision. But just running from my little peg to the water directly to the right would probably take me a half hour or more to do. That's the scale of this place. But anyway, so here's the dinosaurs. When you initially run into dinosaurs, they're obviously not tamed. And I'm going to say dinosaurs, but I mean all the animals. including the mammals and stuff. They're not tamed. You have to tame them if you want them, and it depends. There's different groups. There's a couple that are actually really friendly, and all you have to do is follow them around and feed them food. One of the examples of this is one of my favorite dinosaurs, the ichthyosaur. And let me jump on my raptor so I can get over there faster. The ichthyosaur, which is basically a dolphin with a lot of teeth, but they're actually considered friendly, and so you just have raw meat in your right-hand-most slot. Where did my raptor go? There he is, or she is, I should say. But yeah, you go up and you just give them food, and it takes like 10 or 20, but they kind of want to follow you around anyway, so they're not so hard. There's also the little monkey guys, and those guys are really hard because if you get too close, they get scared and they run away, and if you scare them 5 times, they die of fright. But yeah, so this is a raptor. Raptors are kind of one of the first enemies you'll run into. Shut up, cat. That you can't really take on when you first start the game. There's also these guys, the little Dilophosaurs. I love these guys, but they are pretty weak. And when you look at them, when you look at your tame dinosaur, you have a couple of icons, and they're actually quite useful. The one on the right is how close they are to leveling. So this one, Jill, actually leveled. So then I can pick what I want to add to these. And what you usually want to do is if you want to breed dinosaurs, and they add to dinosaur breeding, is you want to pick a stat for each gender that you want up. So for instance, I think actually for this one I've been kind of doing movement speed for both of them just because their little stubby legs don't carry them that far, so I've been trying to get them up to 400% speed. But yeah, basically when you breed them, you can kind of like pump up one stat in the girl and one stat in the boy, and then hopefully they'll inherit the higher stat from both parents. And I don't have a super ton of experience in raising them because it's actually a really difficult process getting them to have sex, which is basically just having them stay close together in wander mode. You pretty much have to build a tiny pen and just keep them in it, and then you have to get the egg, and then you have to keep the egg the perfect temperature so it hatches, and you have to have the baby, and the baby's really weak, and I've never managed to get a baby to grow up yet. They die too easily. But anyway, it's getting dark. So, as you can tell, like we have a little bit of a farm going. These are just the smallest plots. Level 25 is where you start getting the larger plots, which you can do the more complicated kinds of planting. I have compost bins over here, which if you put 50 thatch and 3 lumps of poop in there, it'll turn into fertilizer, which doesn't go bad. Most items in the game have an expiration, and it can range from like a prime meat, which drops from babies and from difficult monsters, only lasts about, I think, 2 minutes, although if you put it in like a preserving bin or whatever, it'll last a little bit longer, to like dinosaur eggs and stuff will last days and days and days. This is a Phiomia, I think they're called, and my husband named him. You can blame him. And like his whole purpose is that if you feed him, if you remote feed, oh whoops, I went to the wrong guy. If you press F when you're on riding a dinosaur, it will show you that dinosaur's inventory. You have to get off and point at them to open someone else's. But yeah, if you feed him stim berries, he'll just pump out poop, so it makes it a lot easier when you're making fertilizer and stuff. Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing that I like. I like to do the whole home building stuff. As far as building, picking up resources, most of what you can actually do just barehanded, but you want to be careful because you will actually hurt yourself if you're like punching a tree. All these plants and stuff, you can hold it down, you can hold E down and it'll pick them out. Every plant drops the same kind of berries and stuff. There aren't really specific types like that. But what you really want to do is you basically want to get to the level where you can get one of the dinosaurs that's good at that particular thing and throw a saddle on them, because once you do that, you can do stuff a lot more effectively. For instance, if I go over here to my trike, and I think he's empty right now. Are you empty? Yeah, he's pretty empty. His weight's only 150. Come here, Ripley. And so, for instance, if I take this guy, like, here's some plants. Oh no, that's just the regular grass. Here's some plants. and one left click and he, you know, rips through all these plants instead of me having to hold E down that whole time. And you actually have to be careful because berries are fairly heavy and your guy will get weighed down pretty fast. Oh, and as far as, yeah, so that's the boss guy for the winter thing. I haven't actually found him. It keeps giving me that message. I don't even know where he is. So controlling them, shut up. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna let the cat out. And I don't have, go. No, cat. I opened the door for you to run to the opposite side of the room. Go. It's impossible to be a Let's Player if you have pets. It's impossible. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember. Anyway, oh, so controlling them. Yeah, so you basically, you can hold E down to get a whole radio message that will, well, you have to be close enough. If you hold the radio down, you have all these different options, and I could go over them, but I don't really have that much time, so I'll just, you know, you can look it up if you want to. Enable wandering is the one that lets them act a little more natural, so like if you have them in a pen and you want them to wander around and look like they're not just creepy robots standing in place, you can do that. But anyway, and then you can turn following on and off, you can change aggression, blah, blah, blah. But you have various whistles is basically how you can easily control them without having to hold down E out every time. And my keys are totally different. I change mine around a lot. But you have attack my target, which is basically like if you're pointing at something and they all jump at it. You have attack this target, all passive, all neutral, and that basically controls like, do they defend themselves, or if they see you getting attacked, do they jump in and defend you? You can do individually, you follow me, you stay put, or all follow me and I'll stay put. And that's something you really have to be careful of if you join a tribe and they already have a bunch of tamed creatures, because they'll usually just stick them up next to a wall, not penned in or anything. And if you do all follow, it really messes up the base. I don't like playing on a server for one thing. I don't like having everything already set in place for me. I like to actually earn everything for myself and tame my own creatures. And my torch just broke. Freaking. Okay, good. I have the stuff on me to repair it. You can repair stuff, like it'll tell you right there if you hover over it. What you need. There's seeds and stuff. My inventory is kind of meh. Inventory is one thing that I think could be improved. I think they could make it use space more effectively. Like the icons don't have to be so huge because it gets kind of annoying. And also like the sorting, it should automatically do some kind of like alphabetic sorting or whatever. But I mean, they're working on it constantly. So anyway, so I was showing you that, you know, if you jump on him, the trikes are really good at picking berries. Other ones like the Ankylos, the spiky guys over here, who I don't have saddles yet because those saddles you can't learn until way later. They're supposed to be really good at getting rocks. So when I can eventually make a saddle for him, I will be able to go into a cave, which they're all preset. This world is not randomly generated. That's one of the big differences between this world, this game, and a lot of similar games, is that it actually is, you know, all this stuff is specifically laid down. I believe the trees, the plants, and the mineable rocks are randomly generated, and they can come back, but the actual stuff you can't terraform is, you know, hand selected. Here's a little dodo. What? Where are you? Oh, yeah, the following can be a little weird. Like if you say, follow me while you're on a creature, they'll actually be following the creature, not you, and so it can get a little confusing. Pathing is also something that still, they're working on it, but it still really needs to be improved. You will spend so much time having to go back and chop trees down and stuff so that your guys can get through anywhere. They just get stuck on stuff all the time. But that can actually be to your benefit, because the wild ones will get stuck all the time too, and if you don't care too much about realism, it makes it a little bit easier to get the harder creatures if they're already stuck in something. But yeah, here's a little dodo thing I made. This guy's one of the newest species that they added, the Oviraptor, and he was really hard to get. You have to have a lot of eggs to be able to tame him. But one thing that's unique about him is that supposedly having him nearby makes other creatures lay eggs more often. That's why they have these little throbbing egg icons, supposedly indicating that they're laying more eggs. Although, I don't even see any. Here's one egg. One egg. That's poop. Is there another egg? Blah. A lot of stuff it will disappear really fast as soon as it's dropped, but if you manage to pick it up, then once it's in your inventory, it should last a while longer. This is all poop, and if I didn't have that Phiomia, I'd be picking it up, but now that I have the Phiomia, I don't really need to be gathering. I don't need to be sticking my hand in poop all the time. There's even a button that you can make yourself defecate. Is it C? No. Mine is different. What is it? I don't remember what it is. Defecate. I changed mine to K apparently. And then it'll make you go boop. And then it just eventually disappears. But that can be useful for when you're trying to make fertilizer. But again, just get a Phiomia. Okay, you guys are in the way. I can't use the ladder. Okay, I'm going to have to tell everyone to follow. Get them the heck out of the way. I don't know why they like that corner so much. And these guys are all enabled wandering because they're all in this pen, so I'm not so worried about them wandering out. They're pretty good about not phasing through walls and stuff. In my old server, I tried to... game just stopped for a second. I got scared. I tried to build a pen out of fence posts, and my guys just kept walking over it, so that was kind of annoying. But with the walls, they seem to be pretty good. Anyway, so... And then these things are another thing that can be useful. They're basically chests that drop down from the sky, and the different colors indicate the different level requirements. And again, we're pretty low level, so yeah, 25. We haven't really been able to open them, which is kind of unfair because usually by the time you're the level to open it, that stuff isn't even really that useful anymore. But it's just nice. It's a little goal you can go for, you know, kind of speed up your discovery of stuff. You've got stamina, which, you know, like this guy has a pretty good stamina, but for instance, whenever I'm riding my trike, his stamina runs out really fast, so I usually find it easier to ride a different mount and just use him as a pack animal. Anyway, so let's go into the world. I'm gonna wrap this up pretty quickly, but oh, where did my compy go? Did my compy already die again? Compy's another one they added, and those guys are also really hard to tame because you have to give them a lot of... They take raw prime meat to tame, which, as I mentioned, kind of... Oh, man, did he die? Did he really die? Oh my god. They're so hard to freaking keep alive. Anyway, which goes bad really fast, so it's kind of disproportionate. I don't really know why they made that decision. And here we go. He's stuck under the thing. I might actually have to break the platform to get him out. And the Diplos are too small, or the Dillos are too small to... Oh, there we go. He got out. Good. To put a saddle on. You can only put saddles on certain size creatures. But anyway, so I wanted to go out into the world, even though it's dark time, and show you some of the other creatures that you can run into. It's very location-based. This being the north, there's mammoths, there's saber-tooth, stuff like that, which I have not been able to capture yet because those guys are quite difficult. But you know, you go further south, there's swamp areas, there's giant crocs, there's giant snakes, there's just all sorts of stuff. And as far as I know, every single creature in this game is mostly, if not completely, based on actual fossil records. So, and when you capture them, you actually get this little dossier or whatever, that tells you about that creature. And I don't actually know how to access the dossiers. Where is it? I don't know how to open it. But if you... oh, here's the creature dossiers. So for instance, every time you kill one or tame one, it'll tell you about them. And the information in the dossiers isn't necessarily correct. Sometimes they write something like, oh, this creature's tameable, and it turns out it's not. But for the most part, it's a really good guide. And it's supposed to be written from the perspective of like someone who's actually living here. There isn't so much of a story, at least not one that's clearly explained. Basically, like you're some kind of settler that spawns. You have a thing in your wrist, and that's how you learn the engrams. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I don't know if they're going to add more later or what, but it's okay. You don't really need a thick story. And you know what? I'm just going to tell these guys to follow because I don't have time to be trying to lead them all the way out and lead them all the way back in. But yeah, so let's go out. One of the things we like about this place is it has a couple different ways that you can go in and out. But it is actually a fairly difficult area. The north is a harder spawn point, but we had already been in the south and the west, and we were like, oh, let's try a new location. So we came out to the winter. There's food, water, exposure, stuff like that. Exposure's not such a huge problem, except when you're like naked, then it actually matters. Whoa, hi. Megala, there's those guys. Usually they fight you. You can fight from Dinosaur back. I actually usually prefer to jump off and let them fight, because if you are fighting yourself, there is friendly fire between you and your other dinosaurs. Unless they change that, I'm not aware of that. But if you get off and you let the dinosaurs do the fighting on their own, they won't hurt each other. So when I found that out, I was like, oh, thank God. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be able to get too far. There's a brontosaurus. They're, you know, one of the bigger ones. And over there, I forgot what they're called, but they're basically giant vultures. And those guys are pretty difficult. You can tame, I think, pretty much almost every single creature in the world. They have different difficulties. Some of them require special ways of training, like the Oviraptor, the guy I showed you earlier with the thing on his head. He has to be fed eggs. And a lot of them have different behaviors. For instance, if you pick up a pteranodon egg, which they will lay unfertilized eggs just randomly sometimes, every pteranodon in the area will attack you. There's also different levels of aggression. Usually it's either they'll kill you at sight, or they don't really care unless you attack them. Some will fight you alone. Some, every one of that creature in the area will fight you. Some of them will be peaceful until you get too close. For instance, there's these... Oh, hi, you want to fight? Really? Alright, fuck you. Yeah, some of them will fight you if you get closer to them, like the ape people. So one of the things I was mentioning earlier is that the type of tool you use will change what kind of resource you tend to get. So for instance, when you're looting a body, like these guys are arachnids or whatever, not arachnids, but you know, they have hard carapaces, so they usually will drop something different. And that guy only dropped raw meat. Usually they'll drop chitin or, you know, stuff like that. I don't know where the other one went. There he is. There you go, chitin. But yeah, like if you want more meat, you should use your spear. If you want more chitin or whatever, you should try the pickaxe or the axe. And whatever you are currently trying to get more of, you know, it's not a guaranteed, but it will give you a higher rate. Same thing with like trees, for instance. If you attack a tree with a axe, you're going to get more wood. If you attack it with a pickaxe, you're going to get more thatch. There's a little penguin over here. Where'd he go? I don't know where he went. But see, like this Ankylosaurus, he might not be stuck. He's almost stuck. But a lot of times out in the wild, you'll just find a creature that's stuck, and it makes it a lot easier to catch them, but it's also kind of cheating. So, and then also like the resources you find, like if you go up that mountain, you can find more rocks containing metal, but there's also a lot harder creatures that way. Like we have tried to go follow this around into the inlet, and we always get killed by all these predators and everything. And also the world actually has its own world, its own creatures and resources and stuff. And I don't have any underwater creatures tamed in this playthrough, but I was mentioning the ichthyosaurs that are great for riding around in the water. There's megalodons, which is the giant sharks, and it's kind of badass when you have a ichthy mount and then you have like 3 megalodons. Hey, shut up! 3 megalodons following you around, defending you. They're adding mollusks and a couple of other things, and there's also like oil and stuff that you can get from going down in there. But yeah, I'll have to do a separate video showing that. Let me check my little point of what I wanted to mention. So yeah, like I said, there's no terraforming per se, but you can build different bases and stuff, and I've seen some fairly complex ones. They just need to work on the snapping, because right now it's a little awkward. There's all this like collision detection, but they don't really make it easy to snap, so you don't get stuck with that. And then crafting, you know, the inventory, I would like to see this use up space more effectively. And if you hit Q, you can actually, it tells you what it is, but I know what it is by sight, so I just want smaller icons. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you want to play with me, I don't really play on the world servers. You can send me a Steam request. My Steam name is Electorophobia, and I'll put it in the description if I forget to. Just remind me. I will warn you that I don't really like chatting when I'm on Steam, and I mentioned this before, but when I'm on Steam, I'm on there to play games. So if you send me a message on Steam and I don't reply, please don't be offended. I get a lot of messages when I'm playing, and I'm just like, but Steam doesn't have an invisible option, so I kind of don't have a choice. But anyway, yeah, if you want to play with me, just add me on Alectorophobian. You can leave a comment on this video. You can whatever, you know. If you're inviting me to your server, I'm not really interested. Sorry. But yeah, if you played this game and you know you want to recommend it or tell people why it sucks or whatever, hey little penguin, go ahead. Or just if you never played it and you want to know if you have a specific question about it, go ahead and let me know. And if I can't answer it, hopefully somebody else can. And if there's anything specific about the game you want to see a video about, then let me know. I'm definitely not an expert or anything, but I've definitely put, I don't know, actually, I wouldn't say 100 hours into the game, but definitely close. Definitely a couple of weekends, all we did was play Ark, so. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this game, and like I said, they update it pretty much every day, and they seem to come out with a major update once every week or a couple of weeks where they add new creatures and new mechanics, stuff like that. And it's kind of amazing. They've really set the bar pretty high as far as how many advancements I guess this is an indie game. I don't know. I don't really know that much about the studio, but for an alpha game at least, they've definitely raised the bar as far as you know, the kind of changes you can be expecting and stuff like that. It really makes games that like have one update a year, you know, and it's like they add one new race or something like that. Like they don't look nearly as polished as this. And they could probably, like, I know they already have, but they could stand to improve running on older computers a bit more too, because like I said, I could barely get it to run on my old computer, even though I still enjoyed it. But yeah, that's about it. So I guess thanks for watching, and hopefully this all recorded, and I'm going to throw this up and leave it to upload while I'm working. Happy New Year, happy Christmas, oh, it's a compy. He's trying to fight me. Yeah, the thing about compies is they will try to mass, like they'll all get together in a mass and attack you. I don't like killing them, but whatever. They're just so cute. The little guys from like Jurassic Park that swarm you. They're so cute. I hate killing them, but you know what? They're trying to kill me. That's something that's a little funny. Usually most creatures are a little more intelligent about not attacking you if you're like, you know, way more powerful than them, but for some reason compies are just like, whatever, bring it on. They're like little chihuahuas. Alright, that's it. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I miss you guys. Happy New Year. See you in 2016. Bye.